23 points, while clubs like Victoria United, Avion UMS, Fufu Club of the Baham, Apaches of Mfu, and PWG of Bamenda and equally the last 6 teams in Pool A will battle for the place down in the weeks ahead. It should be reminded that 5 clubs will be relegated from the MTN Elite 1 to the Elite 2 Championship. Will Qatar Sport of Garwa maintain her trophy? Only after the playoffs that is coming in the weeks ahead are we going to know the 2023-2024 winners of the MTN Elite 1 Championship. And that is it in terms of what's happening with the MTN Elite 1 Championship. Away from that, we talk on the Southwest Pre-Season Tournament that has been going on for a couple of weeks now, and where we are already at the finals. Let's go back to the quarterfinals, the semi-finals rather, of what transpired between Isolofo Sports Academy and Sinodeva. Yes, you might be asking yourself why Isolofo Sports Academy. Mind you that this particular Elite 2 side from the Southwest region will be playing the plays down rather in terms of the MTN Elite 2 Championship. She decided to use this particular tournament as a practical manual ahead of this tough competition, as they have to struggle by all means to maintain themselves at the MTN Elite 2 Championship. Just 4 teams left. Isosa has battled with Sinodev in a 2-1 victory for the Elite 2 team, who decided to use the Southwest Pre-Season as a training manual. The game saw Isolofo Sports Academy scored first at the first 45 minutes and later on finding the second goal during prolongation period to secure a win to the finals of the Southwest Pre-Season.
Yes, I'm very satisfied with the result. Of course, since we started, we have not lost any match, which is, first of all, a positive aspect. And we, like an elite team, we are preparing for the playoffs, which is I think 1 week or so. We are trying to see, we have some new players, and after we came back from break, we are trying to see the spirit of the team first, then the combination of the team, the cohesion of the team. Then now what we are trying to do in the training, we are trying to see if the guys can apply it in the game. And I think if I'm satisfied, it's not just for the victory, but for the game that we are developing. Give up, despite we are playing play down. I think we are very much sure we're going to maintain. It's going to be tough, but we're going to fight. First of all, we're having a very good team. We are not discouraged, because I think when anybody hears that we are playing the play down, it's a surprise. Because normally we're supposed to be playing the play up, but because the terrain is not, I can say the surface is not level, and football has its own exigencies. We have to take what the situation at hand. But however, we are very determined. That's why we are doing everything, trying to cut the T's and dot the I's.
It's a serious battle for Sinodev FM to say through the finals. They were caught of chances as she couldn't change the scoreline. Despite this late eviction from the tournament, the team is satisfied with their results so far.
That was a very tough game against a very good Isosa team, who was very stable in all the compartments. But in this pre-season match, we had what we wanted to see. Yes, this pre-season my objective met, because what I put in place, the players are trying to reach out 80%. The remaining 20%, we'll see how we can go back and see some corrections. You know, when you ever play a game, always have some mistakes that you have to correct. But my first impression is that I'm very happy, because I gave most of my players their first year playing in the second division, to play in the second division, a chance to play with elderly brothers and teams, so as to gain in confidence while playing in the regional league. Everybody is preparing for the league. You know, the league it has its own phases, and you know we are well prepared to start the league with serenity.
Isosa will play the finals of the Southwest Pre-Season with either Al Jazeera Sports Academy or LN Sports in the days ahead. Victory takes Isolofo Sports Academy to the finals of the Southwest Pre-Season Tournament, where she will either battle with LN Sport of Limbe or Al Jazeera Sports Academy. And away from that, we'll look at who are those who have been contesting for the Golden Boot in terms of the MTN Elite 1 Championship, where it is Amanku, why not tops this particular goal chart with 14 goals so far after a beautiful performance during their last game, in as much as the Zasu of Douala stands at the bottom in terms of Pool A. You find Amanko with brilliant performances that why not secures him a total of 14 goals, which is not up to that of last year where Emmanuel Mahop had a total of 19 goals so far. And the second in position for this particular race is Richmond in G from Victoria United with just 12 goals so far in terms of the season. And mind you that had it been there, he had the possibility to play the playoffs, that would be another opportunity for Richmond in G to increase his goals. But at the moment, as it stands according to the classification, Victoria United will only be playing the play down. And that is it. We're going to show the way to look at the two fixtures that are going to be launching the 2023-2024 as Southwest Regional League. And mind you that this particular league is going to be launched on the 9th of March 2024, and that is going to be at the Moliko Mini Sports Stadium. Yes, this is another innovation. And mind you that for a couple of years it has always been launched in Limbe, and this time around the Federation has decided to bring it here in the Moliko Mini Sports Stadium. And where you are going to be having the first day of play from Pool D, it's going to be from the Mume side, where it's going to be Kamenyi FI that is going to lock horns with Waspito, and that game is going to be played at 2 p.m. And meanwhile, at 4 p.m. it's going to be Fako United against LX Sport. And that is it. These are the two matches that are going to be launching this year's Southwest Regional League. In terms of preparation to where they are going to equally at the end of the season send in another representative to the national interpost. And that is it in terms of the sports updates for High Sport this evening. And we'll take on this break, and when we'll come back, we are going to be discussing very interesting and pertinent topics for today with our guests on board. If you're just joining us, you haven't missed a lot. You're on to High Sports over High Television, where in terms of this particular today's edition, we are going to be looking at the round-up in terms of the MTN Elite One Championship. Yes, the group stages games are over, and it's time for the champion to be known, and equally, it's time for us to see those who stand a chance to why not maintain themselves both in the MTN Elite One and 2 championship, and who are those who are going to be relegated to the MTN Elite 2 championship and equally back to divisional level. This is the baton where these clubs now find themselves in after a couple of 18 to 17 match days from both the Pool A and the Pool B. It's time for them to why not make a stand to their positions. And today with me this evening is going to be Andy Esunga. That's going to be one of dissecting some of these memories in terms of the MTN Elite One Championship. You're welcome and thanks for joining us.
Good evening to you, Sonny Tangoni. Good evening to the beautiful viewers of High TV. It's a delight to be here to talk about issues that are rocking the world of sports, football in particular, and of course look for a way forward as to trying as much as possible to give solutions to the so many problems that are rocking the game, and why not try as much as possible to equally analyze some of the ups and downs.
And definitely, we're looking at Man City, we're looking at Liverpool, Arsenal. You haven't told us which among these 3 teams are your favorite in terms of this particular Premier League season.
Well, I want to tell you that it's been a very hectic season this time around at the level of the English Premier League. As we speak, it's outrightly difficult to put a finger at now after match day 27 or 28 or so as to who is going to carry it. I have a strong feeling that all of this is going to be settled on the very last day of play. But mark you, we're talking about a resurgence of high performance from Team Arsenal that have rediscovered their scoring prowess. And so if we hang by that, then we should be able to see so much much trouble coming in from Arsenal, giving the likes of Liverpool and of course Man City. But in all, like I said, it's outrightly very difficult because the free sides are very performant as we speak. Instead, the team that looks a little bit slippery out of the three is Manchester City. They have lost their scoring powers, and that is not good for them. A side that probably wants to get into yet another trophy season. So it's really going to be very hectic, and who continues the consistency and try as much as possible to reduce the error margin is probably going to get it.
Mind you that this weekend we are going to be having a Liverpool Man City. What are you envisaging in terms of this particular game? Yeah,
like I said, it's really going to be a cracker, given the fact that these are the two teams that are currently leading the lock as far as the English Premier League is concerned. We're talking about Liverpool, despite the absence of some of their key players, but they seem to be a very organized entity. The lads who are coming in from the academy, they seem to have fitted themselves squarely into the game plan of Mr. Jurgen Klopp, and it's outrightly difficult to outrightly say for sure who is a first choice player and who is a second choice player. They are just so understanding. The team chemistry is just so flowing. On the part of Manchester City as well, they too have some key players who are not there, but you can't outrightly put a finger as to whether the performance, especially at the level of the circulation of the ball at the level of the midfield, you can't outrightly say that this team is not outrightly getting it. The only significant aspect that you can point out is the fact that they seem to have lost that scoring powers. So if we go by that, then it's really going to be a very serious game. And mark you, like I said earlier on, both teams have to do everything possible to reduce the error margins, because should they eventually have a slip off, it's going to be disastrous for them. But I'm sure the fans of Arsenal are praying that this game should end in a draw, so that should the game eventually end in a draw and they register a win, Arsenal will obviously go top of the league. So I think it sounds very interesting, and we're waiting to see how the outcome will be.
Saying that tells you that there is an Arsenal fan here, Let. He's always eager to defend the colours of Arsenal. Thank you very much for coming, Genetic.
Yeah, good evening, Sunita. Good evening to and the televiewers. Normally, if you look at it, the league normally as it stands, it is unpredictable, like what Esunge said, but there are some key factors that come into play. Mind you that City are better off this season than last season, where they were at this point in time. It tells you that they've gone one way, they've gone one step forward to better their performance this term. But if you look at it, the three teams, they have one thing in particularity. Liverpool is being guided now by emotions. We want to play for their manager because he's leaving at the end of the season. City, they've been having this, they have slip off. Eden Haaland not really giving what he did last football season. Kevin De Bruyne was injury for a long while, and so they've always been this team that have specific players that come in when need be. Last year was Ike Gundogan, but this year it looks like it's Phil Foden that is stealing the show for Manchester City, and he's doing it. And it looks like De Bruyne, Eddie Haaland, they are actually a little bit average this season as compared to last. And if you look at the performance of Foden, he's scored I think 11 goals and provided I think 10 assists so far in the last couple of games for Manchester City. While likewise Arsenal, yes, I think the break they went to Saudi Arabia during the off-season or the Premier League break actually revived some part in their team, in their ranks, and they have a factor, the goal difference, because we might see this league going right up to the wire to the goal difference, because now they have plus 45 goals or so, while City and Liverpool are languishing with 39, 38. So that's where you have Arsenal having an edge over these other two teams. But Liverpool, they might have other players who are out, but they still find a way to grind out results. It doesn't matter how they win, but all what matters is the 3 points. So there are certain key fixtures that are going to decide this particular league title. You understand that Liverpool City this weekend, Arsenal Manchester City on the 31st of March. sorry, and then you have Arsenal, Tottenham. Those are games that will predict where the title is going to. So by the end of March, you are going to see the narrative whether it's going to Liverpool, City, or Arsenal based on those key games. City still has Arsenal still have Chelsea to play. Liverpool, they've already played Chelsea, so you see that there is still that those top games still to be played. And City, if you look at the games which they have, City have, I think, 5 of the top 7 to play in the next 7 games. So there is still much to be played. We can't really predict, but we just let a better team win. And I think this is one of the best Premier League seasons we've had, and we pray it continues till the end, so that we are not the champion is not elected 5 days to go.
Let me tell you that that's only done here in Africa, and especially Cameroon. Now let's look at Man City Liverpool this weekend. So what's your prediction for that game?
Well, I think if you look at it, you can't really City Liverpool. Like I said, Liverpool is guided by that emotion. The players want to play for the manager. After a very long while, he has given them everything they want, and there is still another booster for Liverpool because Salah is going to be part of the team sheet, and some other key players are going to come back. So it's the players who know that their manager is leaving, and so they want to play. But for City, I think they are the best team in the land, and so they will just go out as defending champions. And we hope the magic of Hill Foden again works this time around like he did in the Manchester derby, where he scored 2 goals. So that's the player to watch out for. But at Anfield, it's going to be difficult for City.
Mark you, they'll be playing against Van Dijk and not the likes of Maguire.
Well, I think Van Dijk normally he is a good defender, but the person who is doing the real work is Konate in Liverpool. If you look at the ranks, so but however, it's going to be difficult for City to beat Liverpool at Anfield. It's just a clash. We pray the Arsenal fans will pray that it should be a draw, so that they have a win and then see how they can close the gap. But I foresee a draw for these 2 teams.
A draw for Jimmy Ateke, and equally to you, is it going to be Man City, Liverpool, or Arsenal that is going to be crowned champions? We still have a lot of games to be able to detect that, and then that is it away from the Premier League. And let's talk about what is happening in terms of the MTN League 1 Championship. And mind you that they are the levels of the preparations towards the playoffs, where we already have the 8 teams that will be playing the playoffs as of now in terms of the MTN League 1 Championship, where we have Dynamo, we have Cologne, we have Canon, we have Cotton Sport of Garoua, defending champions, we have the Young Sports Academy. And just to tell you that Young Sports Academy was one of the clubs or the teams last year that were actually struggling for relegation and last season, and this time around we find Young Sports Academy, who started the season on a very bad footing, and today they find themselves at the playoffs.
It's indeed a story to tell for Yosa and the fans in particular. They indeed have a story to tell. We are talking about a team, just like you said, that have been suffering in recent times. Not being able to outrightly raise the bar as far as our performance is concerned. Before now, I'll say in the last, before the last 3 seasons or so, we are talking about a team that went 2 seasons in a row with the best defense. But immediately after that era, we saw a completely changed Yosa side. And from the best of my knowledge, they are one of those teams that outrightly cried foul at the start of this football season, crying the fact that they were not the financial muscles of the team was nothing to write home about, and they were threatening to one of the teams that were threatening to outrightly boycott the league because of their financial situation. But we want to thank God that somewhere, somehow, they had to assemble resources. The fans, the major stakeholders of the club, they did everything possible to ensure that they outrightly, as much as possible, try to put up something that can at least carry this team and these boys to the next level. And of course, the determination was there, the spirit of togetherness was there, and we saw a team that fought and everybody wanted to play for each other. And I think to crown it all, it was all about that man at the helm. We're talking about Bless and Dikum. I must tell you that this honorable gentleman is phenomenal. This is somebody whom nobody gave a chance. As a matter of fact, at the time when things seemed to have been dwindling, it was just like a go and try your luck. But of course, I want to salute his pedigree. He's a no-nonsense coach. He's somebody who is endowed with so much quality as of now, even with his training and the experience he's garnered so far so good. I think that it was just enough to outrightly take this user side to where they currently find themselves. Like I said, it was all about the determination, and we saw a coach that outrightly told these boys that you can do it. As one body, you can do it. We don't have a big name, but I think that as a unit, we can outrightly go out there, fight for ourselves, and of course, make the difference. And I think that if they're enjoying the degree of success they're enjoying today, it is thanks to these aspects that we are talking about. So, I think this is really going to be a thing of joy to see them not stopping at this point in time. They have to continue with the momentum that they currently have going into the playoffs, because it's like you are already seeing the promised land, so you have to fight tooth and nail to ensure that you already you get there. We're talking about a team in their 20 years of existence now, so they seem not to have had this type of glory. So we are hoping that this is the moment. They're just one step away, and they have to ignite, they have to re-intensify everything it takes to ensure that they get to the next level. We have to say good luck to them, and we ensure that the playoffs, even though we know it is going to be a different ball game, because what already entailed during the regular season is not what we're going to witness at the level of the playoffs. But I think that it's all about the momentum, it's all about the determination. If they succeed to put all of this together, we are going to see a user side that will fight. After all, they already have that degree of confidence now, because you need some iota of confidence going into a competition of this magnitude, because so long as you have the competition, the confidence, I want to say, the motivation is going to be there, and this is going to promote their team spirit, their team unity. And if we put all of this together, we should be able to see a team under Bless Ndikum that will be waxing on very, very powerfully.
And that's it. We're only going to watch and see what Yosa is going to deliver in terms of this particular playoff. That is only if things have to stay the way it is. Many will ask me that what do I mean by if and only if things have to stay the way it is. We are going to talk about it in some moments ahead. I will still maintain with Pool B for those who qualified to the playoffs, where we have Stade Renard, Koton Sport of Garwa, Young Sport, and Fuvu Azul. And Jemaya, over to you. Stade Renard, from the beginning of this particular championship, actually proved her dominance and seriousness of wanting to also have a taste of the playoffs. Mind you that the last season in terms of the playoff, Stade Renard was missing. And this time around, you find them qualifying at the first position with 31 points, even before Koton Sport of Garwa could come from the back.
Stade Renard have been knocking at the door for quite a long time, and they are one of the most consistent teams when it comes to payment of salaries for players. And so that investment, it took so long for them to yield fruits. Yes, they brought in Gabriel Zabo at one point in time, who had exploits with Colombo of Jan Lobo, helped them to finish third. So they knew Gabriel Zabo would come and give them that same glory in the season that came before then, or before that, and it didn't work that way. They ended up finishing average positions in the championship. So this time around, they went in for Ipago that was nowhere to be found when he was coach of Egle de la Menua last season. So Pago came in and did some good recruits and tried to instill a kind of game tactics which worked for him, and played with 4 midfielders, 3 defenders, and 3 attack, which was indeed a kind of counter-pressing approach to games. We saw that how he worked against Popo at the Lemme Centenary Stadium. So he won a couple of games in the first games of the season. That is where I think they had their turning point, or they had their luck winning those games, and it helped them in the second round of matches, which they had fell down the pecking order, after which they had that first defeat to, I think, UMS of Lumo, so before they had defeats to Victoria United and a host of other clubs. I think USA also, and so it made them to be unstable at one point in time, though they were mathematically qualified for the playoffs, but it became difficult for them to pick up that same steam. But the most important thing is they have kept their status at the level of the Elite One Championship. Now, can they move a step further to win the championship with clubs like Kanong, Dinamo, Fufu Hazuo, Gazelle, Football Academy? Those are clubs, and even Cotton Sports of Garwa too, whom they were in one group with Young Sports Academy. I think these are teams which they too have that power to play. So kudos to start with now. I think David Pago, he has proven that he's still the coach that won the league with PWD Bamenda 3 seasons ago, and so he can still do same for Star now of Melon, provided he gets his tactics right. That's the main thing, because now if you look at the playoffs, we've seen teams who dominated the playoffs. Have shown that teams who dominated the league or the regular league find it difficult to actually perform at the level of the playoffs, because it comes with a lot of experience and a lot of experience and resilience, and that is why Cotton Sport has been able to win in the last 2 seasons where we have playoffs. So now it's all about the experience. Do you have the experience? Yes, teams like Kanong, they've been there a series of times since the playoffs started in 2022. They've been there fighting to see how they can win, and so those are experience side. Cotton Sports of Garwa, Gazelle making 2nd consecutive appearances. For Young Sports Academy, their first time of being in such situations. Yes, they finished 4th in 2021, but they couldn't. Then it was the top 2 that qualified for the playoffs. But now they have a chance to go and defend themselves at the level of the playoffs. But it's going to be difficult with a maximum of we'll go play 7 matches, maximum of 21 points up for grabs, which means if you can win 4, you can win 4, have a 1 draw, the rest, let's say 1 defeat, you are sure to maintain yourself. But to win a championship, you must have at least 5 to 6 wins to ensure that you win the championship. So the mathematics is going to be for the coaches to understand where to start. The draws will be made on Friday. Let's see how it goes. It's from the draws that the coaches are going to know how they are going to plan the perception of their games, how they are going to plan the approach, so that they don't get caught in one way or the other. So kudos to Stamina and even Young Sports Academy. I think Dikum Bless have done something which Momo David didn't do. This is a club which they've been, the management of the club, the main management of the club has not been financially supportive to the players. We're not saying that they don't like the players, but they have not, finances have been a problem, and so the fans have been behind the team's successes. And so had it been Young Sport failed to qualify for the playoff champions, the team would have likely gone on a dissolution, because that motivation from the fans, because we're luckily enough, we're fortunate to be one of their fans on Saturday. I was talking how they are already launching a Operation 1000 per fan to ensure the Young Sports Academy beat Fufu Club of Baham. And so you see the strength of the fans. He talked about close to 400,000 fans to be raised for the players. So that has been the strength of Young Sports Academy right up to this point. Not that they don't have the talent, they have the talent to play, but when it comes to motivation, I think the players fall down the taking order. And the role Dikum Blaze played, there are times which things are not moving on well. The coach knows, but you tell there are ways to communicate with the players. But there are other coaches who will tell you that no, go and revolt because your monies have not come, so go and revolt. But there are coaches who will tell you, you see, you have to play for your lives. It's your future. The players will look at that and say, okay, let's play. And then the fans now come in and they see how. That's why they were able to grind out results. And we saw how they won, I think, 21 points out of a possible 48, which is something which was applaudable for them to end up in the playoffs sports. So I think player management too, Zico Bless, I think is top notch in that aspect. But all the clubs who are qualified, I think they deserve to be there, but it's going to be really tough for all the clubs.
And just to add, in terms of user support, where remember every match days that this particular club will play, they will all the elites from the Northwest region will hand over man of the match packages to all these both the PWD club and equally USA, which has gone a long way to put USA in one way or the other where they are today. And that's why we say you don't joke with a 12-man player, because he has the way it gingers these players to be able to perform when they are on the green team. Now when you look at the Pool B, in terms of instability, it started with Nat and Kotosport of Garua, especially during the last days of play. And now with this inconsistency, you begin to ask yourself that are they going to match up with the same energy level with that of Dinamo, who has been very eager and serious right from the first day of play of this particular MTN Elite One Championship? What kind of a game will you be looking to see from starting with that and equaling Kotosport of Garua, Andy?
Sonita, I have my reservations, truth be told. The first thing is that, yeah, it's true, the league, the regular phase has come to an end. We want to thank God for that, at least. But I want to tell you that performance levels have not really been that encouraging. We've not seen consistency in the way these teams evolve, and that is a very big worry, Sonita. I always like to look at things from a bigger perspective. Are these teams outrightly preparing for future competitions? When I talk about future competitions, I'm looking at the CAF club competitions and eventually the CHAN. As we speak, can we beat our chest to say we have a team as at now based on based on this level of Elite One games? Can we beat our chest now to say we can pick out at least 15 players who can go and represent us in the CHAN? So that is how I look at it. So why did I bring this? I brought this to tell you that I have not really been that impressed with the way these teams have evolved, and that is why they have to use the opportunity of the playoffs to impress. Many fans are not happy with the way the teams have evolved. You just talked about the goal scoring chart. We are not yet up to 16 goals. I stand corrected. Yes. We are not up to 16 goals as at now, as far as the top goal scorer is concerned. Yes. You will even be shocked to know that I'm talking about a group like Group A, for example. Out of a possible 18 games that all the teams have played, no one has succeeded to hit 10 victories. None has 10 victories so far, so good. So those are the barometers you take into consideration as ascertaining for sure whether the league has this team necessary to entertain and of course take football to the next level. So that is how I look at it. So we hope that the playoffs is going to present yet another opportunity for these teams to outrightly impress, give a proper account of themselves. We have to see individual brilliance, as much as maybe team collectivity might not be that sound, but we have to see players who will stand out, give a proper account of themselves. I just ended AFCON. It's true, you talk about an Ivorian side, for example, that had a star-studded side, but we saw the little Simon Adingra, who distinguished himself, individual brilliance. He came out and of course told the world that he has something he can produce. So this is what we will need to see in these guys going into these playoffs. But I will not throw the blame on them, the players per se. Have they had what it means? Have they had what it takes to give them an honorable participation and honorable performance as far as the league is concerned? So those are the worries that we are looking at. And that, to me, have not already successfully give us the type of quality or qualitative and quantitative football that we want to watch as far as our league is concerned. So that's my reservation I have, Sonita. We are hoping to see what type of outcome the playoffs are going to produce. As much as we say good luck to them, you talked about Stade Rennes, and based on what I have said, based on the background of what I have said, I am not expecting so much from the other opponents as to giving them so much trouble. We are even talking about a league, Sonita, that only Faith Azu Elite. Only Faith Azu Elite in both Group A and B. Only Faith Azu succeeded to win their last 3 games. The last 3 games, only Faith Azu won 3 games in a row. I mean, the last 3 games. No other team won 3 games in a row. So that is the inconsistency that has enveloped at the league of recent. And we're talking about Faith Azu that is not even among the first the top 3 as far as their pool is concerned. So that is the worry we're talking about. And to me, that does not outrightly bring out the excitement that you want to see. You know, can't outrightly put a finger on a team that has this dominance, a team that can pride itself of this fear factor. There is none, based on all what I have tried to point out. So those are the reservations, but we hope that the playoffs is going to be exciting, and of course see players who distinguish, bring a proper account of themselves, and come up to speed as far as performance is concerned. Why not? With that, we should be able to wait with excitement to see who eventually emerge champions.
Thank you very much. Jamie Ateke, will you buy the idea that and this is there is no team that has shown hunger to want to do a lot in terms of this year's championship, even at the group stages, and equally at this playoff, especially when you look at a club like Dinamo in this year's championship?
Well, I think normally if you look at the I will only really go by a better idea. I'll go by the format of the championship. The championship doesn't warrant competition. It warrants you to just finish in the top 4 and then go in for the playoffs. Everybody's in the playoffs. Especially in the playoffs down, you don't want to risk your players because you want to play competition. So the league, the way it's structured, a person who ends up with like Kanon of Yaoundé and Dinamo Douala ending up with 30 points, but it doesn't guarantee that they are going to. It doesn't guarantee. How do I put it? It doesn't guarantee the fact that when they told they will qualify, but everybody top 4 will qualify. Yeah. So that's where the problem is. So that's why Stari now Melon and Cotton Sport Gaba could not be competitive right up to the end of the season because they knew mathematically they are qualified, and so anything that happens, they will not drop down into the top 4. I mean, out of the top 4. So that's the format of the championship doesn't want that competition. Had it been, we will say okay, the top 2 will qualify for the playoffs. There will have been competition like last season and last 2 seasons. But this time around, you have a playoffs up and a playoffs down. And playoffs down doesn't require the bottom 2 teams like last football season where there will be competition. It requires from the 5th spot down, and that doesn't warrant competition because if a club like Apaches or Fu knows that they are bottom of their group, not only them will go for the playoffs. Yeah. What would they play for if they are playing a team like Cotton Sport or Garwa? So that's where you find no competition. Now, when you play a club like you talked of Cotton Sport Star now, they knew they are qualified mathematically before this last playing days or the last 2 playing days. They knew they are qualified. I even gave an analysis in another platform that Cotton Sports and Star now qualified mathematically. So now the fight now is between Fuf Hazu, Victoria United, UMS of Fufu, and Young Sports Academy. So at the end, we saw that all those clubs won. Yosta won their game against Fufu. Fufu Hazu won their game, their own game. So that's where the format of the league now plays the disadvantage of competition, and is the way the championship was formatted. And we just hope that the playoffs will provide much more competition, because here now there is no room for the fact that everybody will qualify. They need to be just one champion, and they know quite fully well that some clubs know quite fully well that we cannot go for a champion. We have already done what we want to do to finish the top 4 to ensure our status for the next football season. And that's one thing which Young Sports Academy has done, a club like them have done. So it's just the format of the championship. If we had a format whereby 30 points can have a benefit in this first phase, the league would have been much more competitive. We would have seen a Star now of Melon that will fight till the end, a Cotton Sport that will fight till the end, a Dinamo that will fight till the end. But because once you know you are qualified, it doesn't give room for competition. And once you know you are bottom, you will still play the person who is fit. So what is the need for you to play? So that's where you have this confusion. Why the championship is not competitive. But let's hope. Let's say 5 teams this year. We shall go back to hopefully the number one system, so that you play the competition and you feel the games in your bellies and see how the championship ends.
That is it. We are only going to hope and see how the playoffs and equally the playdowns are going to look like, because you might be saying that there is no competition, but there is competition to another extent. I don't know if people buy the idea, because when you struggle to qualify to maintain yourself in the first four, that means that it takes you a lot for you to maintain yourself in the first four. That is why you see a side like Victoria United, who had a grip of the points in their hands, but decided to let it go after several mistakes made on the green turf, which has caused them where they are currently at the 5th position in terms of the classification. And you now see how she's supposed to be preparing now for the place down, which still needs her to be competitive, unless she wants to why not come back to the MTN Elite 2 championship. But I think that if we all go in for the one system of play, then that means that I think that we are going to have a team that Andy Elias said that is going to also represent us in terms of the CAF Championship. We have seen Cotton Sport of Ghana go and messed up several times, and we are asking ourselves this time around, who among these MTN Elite 1 clubs can carry on that burden to say, okay, we want to change things. And just to ask you, Andy, from the start of the league, we found many people speculating that Dynamo was going to overthrow Cotton Sport of Ghana. To you, do you see that coming up in terms of the playoffs? Remember that Cotton Sport is one of the clubs that hits and run. Hide, hits and run, and we are asking ourselves, are they going to do the magics that they normally do during the playoffs, just become champions, and at the end still go and mess up, or we are going to see a Dynamo overthrowing Cotton Sport of Ghana this year?
Let's hope for the best. We are talking about the Dynamo side, honestly. I want to tell you that outrightly, we are not rubbishing the efforts completely. No. If we do that, then we are not being fair to ourselves. But I feel like Oliver Twist, we've not had enough, and we need to see more. That is what we are talking about. Dynamo, we must say that they are one of those sides that have impressed this football season. First of all, nobody gave them a chance to outrightly find themselves where they currently find themselves, in a group that has Gazelle, that played the playoffs last season, Cotton Sport of Garoua, Colombe, with the massive mobilization that we always have about this team, Colombe, year in, year out, having a team like Bambutu Sambuda, PWD Obamena, of course, not leaving out the likes of Lesastre. These are household names that have animated Elite 1 football in this country for a while now. So Dynamo just coming in from the inferior setup from nowhere. I think that many of those who thought that they were just probably going to try as much as possible to keep themselves comfortable in the league, but we are talking about a team now that is doing everything possible to fight for the title. So I think if we go by that, we should be able to see a team that will fight tooth and nail. They are not worse off when it comes to their goal scoring situation. They are one of those sides that have been very animative when it comes to the goal scoring domain. It's true, they've not really preserve the goals as much as they have scored them, because we're talking about a team that has scored, I think, 21 goals or so, and has conceded 17. So the difference is not outrightly there. As much as they could have the eye of scoring goals, but they seem not to have had the discipline, the defense, to ensure that they don't stay porous. So these are the elements that look a little bit shaky for Dynamo, and I think that is why that explains why they had to dwindle down during this last set of games. So if they have to buckle up facing the likes of Cotton Sport of Garoua eventually, we should be able to see a team that should do everything possible to correct some of these setbacks, if at all they have to go places. Or better still, they have to revisit the performance they had at the start of the season. They were flying without pitching at the start of the season. Unfortunately, they had to dwindle. I don't know if energy levels had to drop, or the performance levels of the players had to drop as well. So they have to reignite everything that will give them that stability going into this playoff. Like we said earlier on, we know that it's not really going to be the same situation. I think Jamia was very elaborate there. We're going to see teams that will come outrightly to play, to attack, to try as much as possible to create spaces, create chances for them to get goals. So I have a strong feeling that they are going to revisit the stamina they had during the first period of the league. So if we go by that, then we should be able to see them give a proper account of themselves in front of teams like Kanong, in front of teams like Cotonspor and what have you. So I'm anticipating a very, very rich playoffs are coming in from Dynamo of Douala, who have proven that they are one of those sides that understands the rubrics of having so many scoring options, and it's very important at this stage of the competition. You have to secure those players who can give you as much scoring options as possible. I think that if they succeed to secure this, we should be able to see them wax on powerfully.
Talking about the goal scorers in terms of Cotonspor of Ghana, we have in reports that Emmanuel Mahob, who happened to be with Cotonspor of Ghana after scoring a couple of 4 goals, left the club without even notifying Cotonspor of Ghana, and many persons are already speculating that this is going to be another disadvantage to Cotonspor of Ghana during the playoffs, as we know him to be a player who delivers and is always well positioned at the right place to give in the goals for Cotonspor of Ghana. Do you know, take care, will you buy the idea?
Well, Madam Mahob, he has proven to be a stubborn player. Even last year with Kanong of Yaoundé, there were times we saw aspect of indiscipline at the level of. That's why Kanong could not clinch a title last football season, because of most of the players, including Mahob, who was part of that. How can a player score 15 goals in the normal regular season and can't find the back of the net at the crucial moments like the playoffs? These issues of indiscipline, and now again he has just scored I think 3 goals for Cotonspor of Ghana, and so coming now to the playoffs where you are needed most, you are nowhere to be found. So it's really going to be difficult for Cotonspor of Ghana to actually dominate again. Yes, the league, they always have their way. Like I said, experience is the watchword for the playoffs. It has proven in the last 2 seasons that experience and resilience has been the best factor for the champions. Cotonspor, we saw them against Ashti 2 seasons ago. We saw them again last season against Gazelle, against Kanong, and against Bambutus. We saw how they played. That's a team that struggled in the normal championship, but when they came to the playoffs, they won all 3 games. So that is how Cotonspor of Ghana is being shaped. Like Anthony was saying, Dynamo, yes. Dynamo, I think what has killed Dynamo is the aspect of having dependent on René Ateba. Ateba was like the goal getter of the team. But now that he has left, he scored 7 goals, and he's the only player among the top 5 goal scorers of the championship. And he has left now for Algeria. So there were prospects and potential goal drought for Dynamo, and we saw it coming at the level of their last couple of games. So it's going to be difficult. Yes, they've had an objective to maintain their status for next football season, but to go up and win the championship is going to be difficult. And first, they don't have. Yes, they bought in Mamusu. They bought in the likes of Kemaju, but Kemaju is an aging player. He was really, his days of Bambutus have gone by, and so Mamusu, we didn't really see Mamusu this season, though he scored I think 4 goals this season, but he hasn't really been that player that you can hope on. Yes, they have Bawak and Keridu who are also there, but you see that they will struggle for goals, and the playoffs is all about goals. And so with goals, if you don't score at the playoffs, then it's going to be difficult, and that's what will kill Dynamo. For Coton Sport, they have their experience and we know what they can do when it comes to the playoffs.
And that is it. We no longer have bamboo tools in terms of these particular playoffs. And away from those 8 teams that have qualified in terms of the playoffs, let's look at the fate of Isle Sports Academy and equally Victoria United, who are the flag bearers in terms of these particular 2 competitions from the Southwest region. And Isle Sports Academy will be battling at the relegation place down, and equally Victoria United as it stands. And Andy, to you, we saw a brilliant performance from Isle Sports Academy, especially during the start of this particular championship, where many persons could beat their chest to say this is a team that is going to go to the MTN Elite One Championship with an easy road. But unfortunately, with football being the way it is, it's Isle Sports Academy at the moment struggling to maintain themselves at this particular championship.
Well, first thing first, we must say congratulations to them. They outrightly did their best. I will tell you that they did their best. You can only give out what you have. You cannot give out what you don't have. So they have done the essence. The essence was to qualify for the league. They have impressed because there have been moments where Isosa really gave a proper account of themselves until many of those sport pundits were almost taken away to say that they rate them among the title contenders. Well, it was not a bad idea to already nest that hope. After all, we're talking about a team that has a good management. I must tell you that they are one of those teams that is well structured, if you want to go by that. Unfortunately, they seem not to have outrightly get what it takes to ground their philosophy, and I think it's work in progress. Probably next football season, God willing, if they still stay afloat, we should be able to see a much more vibrant Isosa side. They are really impressed from the goalkeeping domain through the defense, through the midfield, and of course through the attack line. We've outrightly picked out players who have distinguished themselves. So far so good, but unfortunately, probably they met with a much more bigger picture that seem not they seem not to have, to have what it takes to kind of withstand the pressure, so to speak, and maybe one or two other setbacks. But in all, I will not say that it's been a disappointment for Isosa. They've really been massive. I think they have now tested the waters. They know how to navigate themselves around. Probably, if God willing, they have the opportunity to come back next football season, we should be able to see them already show some degree of experience, and given that they will try as much as possible to keep most of these players, the Kosen Juma and what have you. He has been one of the most prolific players for Sosa. Don't forget, he came from Victoria United. Nobody gave him a chance at the level of Victoria United. He was just an unused player with Victoria United, but of course the ingenuity of the officials of Sosa, they brought him in, and I think he's trying as much as possible to make the difference alongside his colleagues. So as much as many of those who thought that this team in which they had during the first set of games will probably take them throughout the season, but unfortunately it seems like they did not succeed to fill in the holes adequately, and probably that is where they find themselves wanting. But in all, like I said earlier on, I don't feel disappointed. I think that is work in progress. If they have the opportunity to come back next football season, I see them waxing on powerfully.
And that's it. The Isle Sports Academy unbeaten in 7 games in terms of the MTN 2 championship, but today they have to struggle to maintain themselves in this particular championship, which is the MTN Elite 2. And to you, Jimmy Ateke, do you see an easy ride for Isle Sports Academy during this place down?
Well, it's not really going to be easy for them. I think they have a team, they have a coach who can actually survive them to maintain themselves when it comes to the Elite 2. But I think where they failed this term is the fact that their away record was the key factor for this particular team. They could only manage out of 6 games or so played away, only 5 points they could gather from those 6 games, and it was so poor. And the game that killed them was the 2 games which they lost to Dragon, and Edin away from home, because they always slip off by 1 point to finish in those top 4 places. And so that has been their trademark. Yes, they gathered many points in the bag at home, but away from home they were found wanting. And when the playoffs going to Yaoundé, it's really going to be tough for them with their track record this season in terms of the playoffs, and that away record might just continue if at all they have to find different ways to run out results. Yes, it's going to be a neutral ground, but I think, like I've been always been saying, they bought good players, but they should have brought in players who could withstand away pressure. I think Isosa has been they were from the regional championship, and they were used to Boyalimbe, Tiko, that kind of traveling, but you need the elite guys who can be daring to go away games. Even the game against Panther out there in Bangante, they played so well, but you could doubt where this club actually, why did they lose that game against Panther. So you find out that their mentality away from home was so poor, and that is where the management failed to get experienced players, because you need to get much experienced players, at least 3 of them, so that you blend them with the best. They bought the best of the region, no doubt, but you need experienced elite players who could. That's what Dinamo did, bringing in Mamusu, bringing in Kemajo, bringing in Kerido, bringing in Bawak and Ateba, because these are players who master the elite one. Now for Isosa, they should have bring at least 3. Those 3 players can be used to gel with the already best in the region and see how they can tackle those away games, because it was for away games. You buy experienced players for away games, because while at home you are comfortable, but going away, and that's where they failed. 5 points from a possible 18 points is so poor for a club that was necessarily ambitious to maintain or to finish in the top 4. So that's where they failed. And well, they still have a good team. They had to do away with Coach Alain Emi bringing in Ndoko. I think Ndoko, like you said, 7 games without defeat. They should have won the game against ASFAP, which they played in their last playing day in Yaoundé. But though it was a game characterized with goals, they couldn't actually get the 3 points. That should have been the game that qualified them for the playoffs. But they still have a chance. We just hope that they put their arsenals well and see how they can tackle the away record syndrome, because going to Yaoundé, I think is going to be tough for this Isosa side.
And many are praying that this particular place down for the MTN Elite 2 should equally be in Limbe to give these guys an advantage. Why some will also tell you that this particular side play the national interpoles in Yaoundé, that means that there's some level of familiarity in terms of the pitches. We're only going to hope and see what Islofo Sports Academy, as their management earlier said during a report that was played out there. They have used the Southwest pre-season to maintain themselves at one particular level in terms of their trainings, applications of what their technical team is giving them. We only hope and pray that this particular Southwest team gets to make us proud by maintaining themselves in this particular championship. Imagine when this particular side is playing games at home, there is that that feeling that Southwest indeed it's enjoying elite football, not only for the elite one from Victoria United, but equally from Islofo Sports Academy. And what they can do at the moment is only struggle at this level to maintain themselves, so that next year all the mistakes that were done can be corrected. Just like Islofo Sports Academy, it's equally Victoria United, who finished this particular season at the 5th position for the MTN Elite 1 championship with about 21 points or so. And yes, Sheaton needs to battle for the place down. Looking at the side of Victoria United, who has won majority of their games away, but when it comes to the home ground, I think they have won just about 1 or 2 so games. Now, what do you think that Victoria United needs in terms of this play down to be able to maintain themselves? I'm sure you must have watched few of their games to be able to detect what was wrong during the championship, Andy.
Yeah, like many of the clubs out in Cameroon, it's been the problem of consistency or inconsistency. I want to say, it's not really been that good, so to speak. We're talking about teams that have not succeeded outrightly to get a proper offensive options. And that has been the main worry, stemming from the fact that you can't already get a team that can boast of dynamism at the level of the midfield compartment, because with the dynamic midfield you create options, you create chances for the attackers to be purposeful. That to me has really suffered a great deal, and this is one of the problems that is bedeviling the success of our team, Victoria United. And so they have to fix all of this. They have to strengthen all of this going into this very crucial stage of the competition. Like we have always said, another aspect that must be taken into consideration equally, it's all about the psychological preparedness of this team, the mentality of these players. It's true that there's been so much talk about Victoria United. They are on the radar. Everybody's talking about Victoria United. And whether you like it or not, somehow it's affecting the players.
Yeah, very true.
It's affecting the players because
there was just a cut short. There was a time that this particular side was playing at the Centenary Stadium and the players were being called Manchester United.
So I think you are now kind of tuning with what I'm trying to explain. So the essence is the management of the club has to do more of action than talking. I mean, they have been on the radar for just too long, and to me, it's not comfortable, especially as far as the players are concerned. So I came to understand that in their last set of games, at least there was an improvement as far as that aspect is concerned. We saw a management that, for once, tried as much as possible to talk less, even though we hear that on confirmed report that they have put up a complaint. Put up a complaint asking for points to be deducted from certain from certain opponents, so that could enable them outrightly garner more points to see them probably qualify for the playoffs. So those are the brouhahas that have been rocking at this Victoria United side, and whether you like it or not, like I said earlier on, it has an impact, maybe directly or indirectly, in the evolution or the performance of the players. So what should be done is try as much as possible to put all of this, try as much as possible to fix all of this. I think that if they do this, it's really going to reflect on the performance of these players tactically and of course on the pitch, because we are talking about a team that should be able to grant results tactically on the pitch. We should not be relying so much on what happens off at the pitch. Victoria United, I must tell you, they are one of those sides that can beat their chest or pride themselves of, knowing the tiki-taka brand of game. At least at the start of the season, we saw it. They are one of those sides that play short passes. They capitalize on short passes. They can build up from the defense through the midfield and, of course, progress. But the perennial problem has always been the scoring options, which I think that they need to continuously and increasingly try as much as possible to fix. I think that this is the picture of the setbacks that to me are bedeviling the success of this Victoria United side. And if they succeed to try as much as possible to fix all of this, they should be able to give a proper account of themselves as far as the next stage of the competition is concerned. So good luck to them. Like I said earlier on, Sonita, this is the moment. It's high time they stopped talking so much and, of course, intensify action-oriented approaches.
And definitely, and just to reiterate on what you earlier said, after the decision, it was actually highlighted that Victoria United could appeal back if the decision was not favorable to them, and they had 5 days to do that. And I'm sure any of these days, the final decision to that particular appeal will be made public. If it's positive, that means that it's going to be Victoria United at the playoffs. But if it's negative, as like how it stands, then they still have to continue to prepare for the place down. And over to you, Jimmy Ateke. It's a new management for Victoria United at the moment, and it means that he needs to actually write his name in terms of goods deeds in Victoria United. You have watched a couple of games for Victoria United during the start of the season, equally at the end. What do you think is actually lacking that has put the team where it is right now?
Well, the team normally they shot themselves in their legs. That's the main thing. So there is no game saying that they are fighting now over still make. They are still make because the league has already ended and going to the offices again to fight for points where you know quite fully well that you should have won those points in the regular season. The game against Apejes of Full, what explanation do you give to the fans for why you failed to show up? And that had a monumental effect on the club's standings, where there are 22 points presently and just 1 point behind, I think, Young Sports Academy or Fufazu. Now, they had to deduct a point, 3 points from the points accumulated before the game against Apejes. Now, if they played their game against Apejes and they lose that game, or they lost that game against Apejes, the 3 points which they had gathered would have helped them now to qualify for the playoffs. So that's why I said they have shot themselves in the leg to have not done good sportsmanship to benefit the fans and the club management. Now they are fighting now to put aside either Fufazu or Young Sports Academy. I think they just have to face the reality and face the challenge that awaits them in the playoffs down. Yes, there are top clubs down in the playoffs down, Fufu, Bambutus, Pibamenda and the rest. But you have to face it because you fail to actually do the right thing at the right time, at the point when you needed it most. You knew. That's why you say don't make mistakes, and we should just stop chasing shadows. I think they are chasing out shadows and not allowing the object go scot free. Now they should be looking themselves in the mirror and say, why did we not play the game against Apejes on Full? Whereas Apejes on Full was not a team this season. All like the Apejes we usually know. Apejes on Full finished, I think, the one of the last bottom teams. Those were teams who were playing for nothing. They knew whether they win or whatever happens, they are in the playoffs down. They just have to fight for their lives to maintain in the playoffs. So at the end of the day, Fupo is a club that I love from childhood. But when management doesn't really have a clear-cut vision of how they go, if you have a plan, you must be able to do it to the latter. Don't do it the wrong way. You must be able to ensure that if you want to win the championship, you must be able to ensure that you play all your games. And the law is not pleasant to anybody. Once you fail it, you have failed it. And they fail to show up, and that's why this is haunting them now. So I think at this point in time, going to the pitch on their performance, they score goals. Richmond scores goals, 12 in total. Jaguar scored a couple of goals. The likes of they scored a couple of goals. But now they have a problem with their holding midfield role. I think that's where they have problems because they lose ball. I mean, they lose a lot of possession when it comes to starting play. We saw that against Stade Rennais. We saw that against Coton Sport and host of other teams while playing at the Centenary Stadium. That's why they were able to get maximum points at home. So I think that to get a good pivot for Popo was a real challenge for this team. Yes, the two pairs, Emmanuel and the race, and the other guy, they were good pairs at one point in time. They kept some good partnership, but the pivot who plays like the distributor is a problem for the team. They score the goals, but when it comes to that defending the person who is defending the back four, they have a problem. So they have to manage that. Now that they have brought a new manager at the helm, he has to be looking at that direction. They have all the videos. They are one of the teams who broadcast their matches and have videos of their games. I think the coach now, what he needs to do is to go back to those videos and look at the strength and weaknesses of the team and see how he can amend, bring in some couple of players if at all, because we know the club had to do some recruits during the off season to beef up what they have. So now we are working now because defense is key for this playoff. It's one leg, and so once you lose it, it's gone. So you must be able to protect first the defense, and a goal is enough for you at this point in time because there is no home and away basis. It's just 3 points, and you must be able to be clinical in front of goal and protect your back four. Once you do that, I think they have a better chance to win. But as it stands now, they should leave everything that has to do with protest or whatever and focus, because they have already messed up with the chances of them qualifying for the playoffs.
And that is it. Is Victoria United going to do as Jamie Ateke says? Only in the days ahead are we going to have a concrete decision from FECAFOOT in terms of the appeal that has been made by Victoria United. And mind you that it's going to be very devastating, especially for a club like Yosa that has put in all it takes to get to where she is, and at the end of it, because of some rules and regulations, if it is definitely positive, she gets to prepare rather for the playoffs, but for the place down. And that is it in terms of the 8 teams as of now that has qualified for the MTN Elite One playoffs, and equally those who are preparing for the place down that will be starting in the weeks ahead. And away from the MTN Elite One Championship, we come back to the Southwest region to talk about, we'll give a recap first of all with what happened in terms of last year's Southwest Regional League. And over to you, Andy. Many would describe it as a dark league last season, as there were a lot of controversies and some memories that could that you can remember in terms of last year's season. Before we get to look at what is going to happen as March 9 is soon approaching.
Yeah, I think your caption says it all. It had its own dark moments, so to speak. The mini Interpols itself was surrounded with so much of our controversies, and I think that is why the dust is still yet to be settled as far as our last football season is concerned. And of course, queuing in to this football season, the picture already seems to be bleak. We are talking about a league that has suffered about 3 or 4 postponements. Postponement prior to what we're going to have come the weekend. So I think that does not already speak positive energy for a league that has pride itself producing top-notch footballers around the world, and of course been outstanding at one point in time as far as the nation is concerned. But all of that seem to be having a nosedive to the negative direction. That is not what you and I, as persons who follow that league, very, very curiously, fervently, that is not what we want to see as far as the evolution of the league is concerned. So it's really been a very bleak picture from that negativity now to a league that is starting without many of the teams that used to animate the league. So the controversies are there, the setbacks are there, and if at all we are starting come at the weekend, the question I'm asking myself is, what has been done to ensure that each and every person has a place to already get yet another befitting and successful season? As we speak, some teams are accusing the federation of not allowing them register their players, that they have refused to open their portals for them to already register their players for the start of the football season. So these are the controversies that keep lingering around the league, while the league officials on their part, they keep accusing some of these clubs that they are sabotaging them. So the fervent question you and I are asking ourselves is, who is saying the truth and who is lying? Is it that FECAFOOT is lying, or they are saying the truth, or the club presidents are lying, or they are saying the truth? But I have put my ears on the ground, and I have had the opportunity to speak to some of these clubs, and truly they have evidences to already prove their case. So I think that we need to strike a balance, or better still, those who pervade the corridors of power vis-a-vis football in this region, they have to strike a balance. This should not be the moment for us to build camps, because whether you like it or not, it's not about mincing words. The Southwest region has been reduced to camps, and that is not what you and I want to see. We need to see a very solid league that will continuously produce teams. But as we speak, the league is in camps, and that is not helping the progress of the league. So in all, it is a good thing. It's better late than never that we are eventually starting off with the league come Saturday or so. We're going to have the teams from Kumba that will be staging the kicker, and of course Fako United and their opponents. But I quite remember this was not the initial fixture that was put in place as far as the start of the league is concerned. This is especially the teams from Boya. These are new teams that are coming in as far as this opening fixture is concerned. So the question I ask myself is, what is actually happening? Maybe I already need to get the explanation, but what is happening that we are getting these ups and downs, this forward and backward movement as far as the league is concerned? Is it because, anyway, let me reserve my comments for now.
And over to you, it's a mixed feeling to many lovers here in the Southwest region. But over to you, Jimmy Atekia. Can we already say that the way the league ran last season, it can actually, does it have some consequences in terms of the starting of this particular championship? I look at it in the angle of people coming back to the field, because this has been one of our greatest, shall I say, objectives here in the region, to bring people back to the field. Now, when we look at the little misunderstandings or challenges that happened last season, do you think that we are going to see the influx of spectators that we used to see some years back?
Well, it's going to be really tough to have back those fans back into the stadium. Because one of the clubs that used to bring fans was Istanbul Football Academy, and they are pulling out of the championship because of irregularities and so forth, not being able to register their players through the FIFA Connect system, so forth. So yeah, we have Fako United that have some huge fan base. We have LS Sport, who is coming to, they have their huge fan base. That's a club that used to have a huge fan base. So the championship, I think last season was a season characterized with a lot of malpractices, especially the officiating of the matches. You understand that it was really poor from the officials. The referee commission was not actually up to standards. When you look at the games, you could pinpoint the game of Transport against Princess of Boya at the Boya Town Green. You could pinpoint Kumba City versus Jalapan Sports Academy. Those were games. You will see a lot of malpractices, a lot of manipulation and so forth. So it made the league, it tagged the league somehow, a kind of a league. See, we fail to understand that a league is, you are marketing, it's not about marketing. When you want to market a championship, they don't only look at the football being played on the pitch, they look at also the officiating. Now, if a sponsor is coming in, a real sponsor is coming in and sees what happened against the game Kumba City versus Jalapan Sports Academy, the sponsor have every right to back out, because that's not what they envision themselves to see. So you are selling a product. I don't know if these people understand the marketing, because when you sell a product and you see a game like Jalapan Sports Academy and Kumba City FC last football season, that's a game which you are selling the chaffs, not a product. And for a modern day football, you will not be able to see that. So we have to understand some issues. The men in black have to be pushed on. That once you are giving a whistle to blow a game, you are doing it, you are marketing the league, because the league has to do with transparency and accountability. Now that's what sponsors look for in football. And once there is no transparency, even the best player in that pitch might not have a chance. If a scout is there, you will not take that player, because they will think that the player depends on manipulation of matches. So those are things that when you market a product, and you tell us in General Assembly that you bring sponsors, you have to put the product of your championship as the best, not only in terms of talent, but in terms of efficiency. So this year, they should be able to tell us, make us to understand that the men in black who officiate games properly, as well to sell the image of Southwest football. If we are saying that this is the most militarized championship, and the product which we are putting out there is not worthy of consuming by sponsors, then we are doing nothing. So the stakeholders will understand that last year has gone, this year is not a new year. We should try to do things properly. Make the balance of games. Clubs should come, fans should come to the field and understand that there is football being played. That football is being played. If a team loses, then they deserve to lose. Not that a team will lose and we see glimpse of manipulation. That's not what sells the league. Yes, that's not what sells the league. So we have to change our mentality. It's about mentality here. And if we don't build on this mentality, we can never sell the product. Even at the level of Cameroon football, you don't sell, you take a sponsor. That's why we talk about the mountain race. That's even the worst case. Because once you don't have a clear-cut vision on how to put a product out there for sponsors to come in, it becomes difficult for you to have sponsors, and even the players will suffer. So the stakeholders, the referees in particular, should be cautious this time around to ensure that there is balance, fairness, and accuracy in their work, how they do it, and let us enjoy the beautiful game like we have enjoyed in the past years.
And yes, that is it. I'm sure the Federation for the Southwest region has taken that in consideration, as some months back they actually organized some refreshing courses, talking to these men in black in terms of uplifting their standards of officiating, and as well as the clubs equally that could not meet up to standard in terms of registration. I think the Federation equally has reiterated more on all those and information. And Saturday it's going to be the launching of the Southwest Regional League. We are calling on all stakeholders, all football lovers, that this is a new era, this is a new season where we find a lot of clubs like Fako United and Lens Sport, and equally Best Stars, who want to, Buya United, who want to showcase the products that they have, who are the players. And I'm sure that these players equally want to create a name for themselves. And we are saying that as the league commences this Saturday at the Monaco Misport Stadium, with 2 games that are going to be launched, we are calling on all our 12-man players, that is the fans, to come to the field as much as possible for them to support their various clubs that will be participating. And if it is actually confirmed that Istanbul will be ruling herself out of this particular year's competition, that means that it's going to be a shaking in terms of these particular groups, and equally the total number of clubs that were supposed to participate in this particular Southwest Regional League competition were about 26 or so, 27 clubs to participate in this year's championship. And we are hoping and praying that things get better as the league continues to be one of the most showcase league in the region. And just to reiterate that the West region equally had already started. I think this is one of the very first region to have started their regional league, where they are around the match day 7 or 8 or so, where we have the Sablo that is actually creating a name for themselves that way at the West region. And where, like I earlier told you, it's going to be 2 p.m. Kamani FI against Waspitu. Manjida Waspitu is another new regional league club that has joined this year's season, and equally Ellen Sport will wear the champions in terms of the FACO, the divisional league. And to tell you that Ellen Sport equally has been one of the new clubs to talk about here in the Southwest region, with the performances right from the divisional league and equally to the various games that they have been playing in terms of the preseason. I think this is one of the clubs for this year, and equally for Fako United, who has done a lot of signings that is many clubs are saying that it's already a threat to them. And to tell you that this time around these clubs are coming full-fledged to give in to why not satisfy you with beautiful football. Pick up the rendezvous Saturday at the Monaco Misport Stadium once more to enjoy beautiful football made in the Southwest region. And that is it in terms of today's high sport. But before we take a leave of you, it's going to be Kameni and Waspitu. To you, Andy, what you envisage, who do you think is going to carry the day? I mind you that these 2 clubs are from the Meme side.
Yeah, we hear that the mobilization has been massive. Kameni They are not a new side when it comes to the Southwest Regional League, and so they probably wants to use this football season to already prove a point. We hear that there is so much enthusiasm on the part of Wasupito, the revolution of this football season. We hear that so much has been put in place to ensure that these players or this team in particular in general gets a befitting outing as far as the Southwest Regional League is concerned. So I watch out for them. We hear that they have a very solid financial muscle, and I think that is going to be key for them going into this competition. So if we go by that, then we should be able to expect a mouth-watering encounter, a thrilling encounter, a encounter that will produce so much fireworks as Sonita. So based on that, we should be able to see the better side get it. That is where it's really going to be a little bit difficult, because a team like Kameni, for example, I hear that they have succeeded to gather a couple of players from around the teams in that made up the Meme teams as far as the regional league of last football season is concerned. They had some players. They had one or two players from Kumba City and the other teams out there to form a very solid side. So if we go by this, then we're looking at a very, very experienced side playing against a side that seemed to have been vibrating with so much motivation coming from the organization, coming from the financial aspect. So Sonita's stance, it's really going to be difficult to put a finger as to who is eventually going to carry it all. But like we usually say, the team that minimizes the error margin is eventually going to be the team to carry the day. So in all, we say best of luck to both of them.
And we go to Pool B, where it's going to be Fako United that is going to lock on with Elengspor. Just the physicality and appearance of Elengspor made some fans at the Moliko Stadium yesterday during the finals, the semi-finals rather of the pre-season between Elengspor and Algeciras Sport Academy. You find people, they were screaming and shouting that these are men and not boys. Over to you, Jimmy Ateke. Fako United, they have been training and they were actually evicted from the pre-season very early in terms of this particular tournament. What are you going to see from a new energetic side from for Elengspor, who is coming up to say they want to have a taste of the MTN Elite?
Don't forget their household when it comes to Southwest football. Definitely. They are staging a rebirth or a comeback.
Definitely.
Yeah, the two teams normally in those days we usually see Elengspor coming to Moliko Sports Stadium to come and play Prisons of Boya. So this time around it's Fako United. So that FIFA will be out. I watched them doing the Fako League. They look a good side. They have some quality. On their way to the finals, they kept, I think, 9 clean sheets out of 10. So they have a solid squad, and they had to change management to bring in somebody with experience like Coach Joko Barnabas and Kengo Raymond to manage the affairs of the team. Playing Fako United, I think, is a new team that is coming up to the Southwest football, and they too have changed management. So if you look at them, they have good, the same ambition, the same approach to games, but now who needs it more in the opening day? That's what that's the first. Elengspor was supposed to play with Istanbul. They were hoping to play with Istanbul, but not knowing that they were going to play with Fako United. So it's going to be a tough game. I fancy a draw from the game because of the way the two teams play and the preparations of the two teams. I think they have everything it takes to win the game, but you find a situation whereby a draw might just be enough.
Don't forget that Fako United, as per our latest report I'm getting, that the management of the team is mobilizing a staggering chance of 200 tickets for fans to already storm at the Moliko Sports Stadium. So 200 fans at least will be expected to push this Fako United side to victory. So I think if we go by that, then the 12-man support is going to be massive. Talking about equally an Elengspor side equally that knows what it means to rally a fan base. So I think it's really going to be a very, very electrifying at Moliko Sports Stadium.
And definitely, you just remind them you have a very interesting moment. It was the time that Fako United was taking on Istanbul as a football season where these people brought CYF choir and he animated the whole Monaco Stadium. I mean, all Lucas were held spellbound saying that is this only football or it is something else? And this is what we want to see in this year's championship. We want to see the 12-man players killing themselves by supporting the various clubs. And that is it in terms of the Southwest Regional League that will be coming up this Saturday for you. And equally, we're having a lot of sports updates. We're having speculations already that the Cameroon government and equally the Federation, it's why not looking to talk to Hugo Broos, the South African coach who took them to AFCON, and equally many other coaches, and those are all speculation. And equally that President Samuel Eto'o will be going in for another term of mandate. We'll be bringing to you all this update. And don't equally forget the most anticipated match or fight that is going to be against Francis Ngannou and Anthony. And to tell you that that particular fight is going to be on Friday. You wouldn't want to miss. Please don't put your money again. The last time people put millions and they ended up crying. So if you want to put your money, you should be extremely wise. So pick up the rendezvous with us on Saturday at the Monaco Stadium, as we are going to be bringing to you every bit of the Southwest Regional League and equally what is going to transpire with the plays down both in the A-League 1 and 2 and equally the playoffs and the various locations where this particular tournament will be played. With Cotton Sport of Garwa be over at home only after the playoffs, and we're going to give a cap to that particular question. Thank you very much for watching us today on High Sports and equally. Thank you very much, Jimateke, and thank you very much, Andy. And it's with this particular Southwest Regional launching announcement that we get to say bye-bye. Thank you for watching us. It was, I am Radam Sunita Anguni. See you tomorrow at 8 a.m. for sport updates on the Elela Bamu Show. As what you wait for our 8 p.m. newscast news.